now. Hi, this is Linda Callaway. I'm representing Southern Allegheny's Museum of Art here in Bedford. And I'm happy to come today to tell you a story about the coyote and how the coyote got his call. This is a painting we're going to be doing later. I will show you how to paint the background, easy peasy. I will show you how to draw in the coyote, not hard at all. Oral storytelling is something I like to do, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. I want to show you the fairy garden that we started last week. Now, I'm here alone in my own home filming, so please be patient with me as I move the camera around and show you the different parts. Okay, that's pretty much focused in pretty well on that. I'm going to lift things up to show you. I covered those little clear stones that you buy at the dollar store in different places and covered them with the polymer clay so they look like rocks. I finished my fairy house, and I like it. The roof comes off, and I did remove the tinfoil that was inside. This had paper inside, and it's gone. Here's the door, a window on both sides, and vines. Now, moss that's here and there, I do think it's a little too bright. What I can do to bring down the brightness of it is put a little bit of watered down brown paint and antique it. And I think I would probably like to do that. A fairy doesn't want to be found, and I like the pink, and my little fairy loves pink also, but I think it's a little bright. This is the mushroom. I put a little bit of texture on the bottom. It still has the tinfoil inside it, and I just stuck a toothpick in it so that it will go down in the soil. I think I need a couple more mushrooms, so I can make it any time. I've got a little few things in here. I may add a few more flowers to it. This is not looking as healthy as it can. Okay. If you have any questions, type them in, and Morgan or someone will try to answer your questions if they can. I was wanting to get on my tablet and see if I could see the questions coming up. And I'm here on Southern Allegheny, but I don't see where the live is coming in. So I'll look and see if I can. That was a different time that was live. It's sometimes hard to find these things as we're doing it. I'm seeing past ones. I'm not seeing the one that it's on right now, so I guess that's not going to work for me. It was a wonderful thing to try. That's not it either. Okay. I'm just a little bit nervous today, and I have no idea why. I've told the story several times, and I enjoy doing it. So we're just going to get busy and get going. Now, I have to rotate it up so that you can see me. And I'll be moving the fairy garden out of the way, even though it's pretty. Oh, I see some people on there. You're going the wrong direction. Well, that's not good. The problem with that is when I turn it, it's too blurry. So I'm going to have to turn the whole. Well, I want you to be able to see me, and you said that wasn't. Okay, you need to let me know. Am I focused on this chair and the fairy garden? Can you see the fairy garden right now? Remember, I'm doing this myself. I can reverse the camera, but it gets kind of blurry. And it is delayed when you answer me. It doesn't come in really fast. Okay, I'm going to wait to look and see what the people are saying. And there goes my ring light. Yes, but it's vertical. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I don't know how to do it this way. Is that better? I don't know. We're going to try. I did the last time. I'm just going to pretend that you can see me really well. I will look back through it in just a minute. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Okay. Throughout history, there's an oral Throughout history, there's an oral tradition where a storyteller in the First Nations would tell their history with stories. And people would elaborate on the hunts. They would answer nature questions. They would tell the stories. They would pass them down to their children. They would tell the stories, and so on. And it became a tradition that a man or a lady would become the tribe storyteller. And I enjoy this oral tradition, and I want to continue it. I've got on a scarf. If I was telling this as a storyteller for a tribe, I'd probably have a wolf skin on or a coyote skin draped across me. I don't own one of those, so I've got a scarf draped around me. This is a Cherokee tale. It was taught to me several years ago, and it's kind of frowned on for non-natives to be telling the story. I went to a workshop with a Cherokee Indian named Tom Tingle, and he was very gracious, and he said, you may tell the story because you honor the traditions, and that's what I want to do. I want to honor the traditions. Let me start off with telling about Little Gray Dove. Little Gray Dove was out on a beautiful end of summer day, and all of a sudden she got a little chill. Oh, fall is coming, and then winter, and I must put aside some stores so that myself and my babies can have plenty to eat during the winter months when the snow covers the ground and we cannot find food. So she spread her wings and flew off over the field and came upon a field with this golden grass. And it had already started to turn. It had lost its green color, and the seed heads were bursting with seeds. And she said, this is a wonderful place for me to stop and gather seeds. So she landed and sat down in the middle of this sea of golden grass and started collecting seeds. Now, she didn't use her wings to do it because the wings were flimsy feathers, and they were good for other things, but not for gathering seeds. As she sat, she used her feet. She would grab one of the stems of the grass and take the other foot and pull the seeds off, and they would land on the ground, and she continued doing this and pulling them off. And as she was doing it, she was gathering up a lot of seeds. She would take her wings and put them in a pile, and she kept going, and she goes, this is working out well. Ow! Ow! I don't know if you've ever had a grass cut or not, but it hurts. It's like a paper cut, and they're not even that bad, but they hurt. And Little Gray Dove was sitting there going, ow, ow, and she began to cry. Now, the Little Gray Dove was a mourning dove, not M-O-R-N-I-N-G, M-O-U-R-I-N-G. mourning like you're sad. And her call was a very sad call. And she started crying. And about that time, big, strong coyote comes loping up and he goes, "Oh, little gray dove, that's a beautiful song you're singing. Will you teach it to me?" No, I'm not singing. Brother Coyote, I'm crying because I cut my foot and it hurts. And I'm big, brave, strong Coyote. You will teach me the song. Now, little gray dove was small and defenseless. And she looked up at Big Coyote, and she knew he was big and strong, and she didn't want any trouble. So she looked him in the eye and said, "Well, Brother Coyote, I was just going, yeah, that's pretty." And she knew he was big and strong, and maybe not very smart. And he said, "Do it again." So Brother Coyote goes, "Yeah, that sure is pretty. Ho, 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 ho." And he walked off, singing the song. Ho, 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 ho. What was that? No, what was I forgot. So he turned around and came back. Little gray dove, sing it for me again." "Oh, but Brother Coyote." "Sing it." "Okay." Yeah, that's it. And he walked off singing the song. And he left. And little gray dove said, "Why, I don't want him coming back. He scares me. Those teeth are sharp and he is very, very rough." So she started gathering up her seeds. And I don't know what happened. I think a rabbit ran by. And Brother Coyote ran after the rabbit and chased him until the rabbit ran down in the rabbit hole. And he goes, "I didn't eat my supper. Wait a minute. I was singing that song. How did that go? I forgot." Now, Brother Coyote was big and strong, but not too smart. We're not going to call him stupid. That's a bad word. But he went back. And little gray dove was still there gathering up her seeds. And he goes, "Oh, little gray dove, sister dove, sing it to me." "Oh, that's it. I just love that. I think it's beautiful." And he went off. And she said, I can't just stay here. He'll come back because he may be big and strong. But Brother Coyote's not real smart. So she got a leaf and she started using her wings to gather up the seeds. And she put it in the leaf and rolled it up. She got another leaf and gathered up her seeds, rolled it up. Pretty soon she had several bundles of leaves with seeds in them, and she goes, "This will work. This will help feed my babies and myself during the cold winter months when there's nothing to eat." And then she realized she flew there, but she was going to have to walk home. She was going to have to pick up the bundles and put them under her wings so that she could get home. So she did, and she started walking home. Something made her turn around. I'm not sure what it was, but when she turned around, she saw little bird footprints in the dust. And she had sat there a long time gathering her seeds, and the dust was disturbed, and she was making footprints. And she goes, "Oh no, I can't do that. Why, that coyote will follow me all the way home. So what am I going to do?" And she thought about it. And she thought about it, and she goes, "I have an idea. I have my bundles under this wing. This wing I'll use as a broom. And she carefully started sweeping up the dust. And she looked behind her, and it looked good. But there was a little faint trace of the trail. And she said, I just don't know how good a tracker he is. Is that going to be good enough for me to get away and get home to my baby? And she thought some more. So little gray dove looked around and saw a stone, a gray stone. It was just about the color of her feathers. And she looked around and saw another stone that was just about the size of her head. So she put the stone down in the middle of all the weeds where she'd been working. And she put the little stone on top of it for a head. I don't know, it's missing something. I know. I'll paint it an eye. And there was a little bit of wet ground over there, so she dipped her feathered wing in it. It was just as good as a paintbrush. She dipped it in the mud and painted a couple of little black eyes on that stone. And then she felt comfortable to go home. The little gray dove swept her path as she was exiting and headed to her home. And she just knew that the coyote would be back. The little gray dove was very wise. It was, 10 minutes later maybe. Here comes the coyote loping up. I don't know if you know what loping is. It's kind of a funny little run. And he comes up, and I don't know what happened. I think maybe he tripped and fell on a rock. I don't know. But the song was gone from his head again, and he decided that he would go back and ask her one more time. So when he got there, he said, Sister Gray Dove, sing me your song. And Sister Gray Dove said, Did you hear me? I'm Brother Coyote, and I command you, sing me the song. The little gray dove was gone, and the gray stone said, If you don't sing me that song, I'll bite your head off. Well, the coyote was big and strong, but not real smart, and he didn't figure out that little gray dove had gone. And he saw the stone sitting there, and he was mad. So he went, ah! And he bit down on little gray dove's head. Except it was a stone. And he bit down hard. And when he bit down hard, it broke a tooth. Oh, pain. Oh, the pain. And blood. There was a little blood. Oh, the pain. So he sits down on his haunches, and he starts crying. You want to do it with me? And about that time, Brother Black Crow flew over, and he flew down and sat on a rock near the coyote, and he says, Oh, Brother Coyote, that's a beautiful song. Will you teach it to me? And Brother Coyote was in so much pain that he just growled and kept on his howling. And the crow left, and he sat there and cried some more. So on some dark night or right at sunset, if you hear the coyote off in the distant hills howling and crying, then you will know how the coyote got his call. And that's the end of that. Now, if you enjoyed the story, you should maybe listen to it another time and then try to tell it yourself. You can tell stories about anything. A good source is to go to the library, go someplace and get a book on storytelling. And I challenge you to do that yourself. Now, I'm going to show you, and I've got to make sure that my camera is pointing down, how we're going to paint this colorful background. It is incredibly easy. Incredibly easy. But I'm going to have to get up and look. I sure hope that my story was heard. Okay, I'm taking off my scarf and putting on my paint apron. When I painted my example earlier today, I didn't have on an apron. That's a mistake. Okay, what colors do you think we're going to need? We use yellow. We use red. Where'd that orange come from? We use red. We use blue. Where'd that purple come from? And actually, I didn't use white. My paper was white. I wiped it off. So we're going to start. I will show you how to draw the coyote. And it's not hard. But I'm going to start off. I already have mine in black marker here. Oh, I didn't look to see if it was down. I don't think it is. Nope. I'm going to have to change this and go down. Sorry if this makes you... With me moving the camera, there we go. And that's not very straight, but I think you'll get the idea. I think you can see. I'll move it over just a little bit. The first color we're going to use is yellow. And you can see I've already used a marker to draw on here, but I'm going to paint right over it. Your paper or your canvas will be blank. And that's wonderful. That's how I should be painting this. I'm going to use a medium-sized brush. And I'm going to just start way down here at the bottom. And this is a very, very bright yellow. But I'm not worried about it. Look how I'm just sweeping it across here. I have to go up fairly high to give room for some of the yellow to show at the bottom and to start blending in the red. This does not take long. Guys, do it fast. And it doesn't take long for it to dry. You can paint in X's, you can paint in crisscross patterns, but mostly we're painting horizontal. Now, I know that Jen has been doing a lot of the color wheel. I don't have it with me, but the only colors that I'm using today are the primary colors. Now, I'm ready for some red. I'm not washing my brush. I'm just going to be putting a little bit of red on my palette. And coming in here. Painting across. So if your canvas or your paper is blank, just paint this back and forth. We're going to blend into that yellow. This does not look good by itself. So we're going to blend it in, and when we mix red and yellow together, you know what color we're going to get. I just dipped that a little bit in the water to make it more fluid. I didn't wash it. I just did a quick dip. Okay. Now I'm going to start blending this. I might take and get a little bit of the red off on my paper towel because I want this orange. I'm going to go with little X's down in there, but I want some of that yellow to still show. So I'm going to just look what I did. I got the orange all the way down there. I'm going to add some more yellow to it. There we go. I want the yellow to be on the bottom in between these trees. It can be a little bit orange, but I want it to be in between the trees. So we keep going. I'm going to even add a little bit more yellow in here. We're going to go till we have the orange color. I'm not going to worry about painting the sides right now, but because this is a I hate it when the words just leave me, gallery wrapped canvas. We don't have to frame it, but when it fits in, I usually like to. So I'm going to come in here with just a little bit of orange. We're going to I don't know if you can see lines over here or not. We're going to leave a little bit in there of the other colors. Okay, I'm ready to come in here with the blue. I'm Don't have any out on my palette. Okay, I don't want it to be orange. Now I'm going to have to watch it because that orange is coming out. What happens when you get yellow in with your blue? I bet you know. When you get yellow in with your blue, you start getting this green color. And the sky will sometimes look a little green, but usually when it does, that means a storm is coming. That's not a natural color for the sky. Remember, we don't want this edge right here. We want to blend these colors in. So when I get next to the reds, what am I going to have to do? Yep, I'm going to have to start blending them. I just got a little bit more water because that was not blending very well. I do not see that line where you stop. I don't like those at all. So that happens when you thin down your paint a little bit with water. So I'm going to come in here and go over. Now I'm ready to start blending in with this red and blue and start doing these. Now the purple is starting to show up. And the purple is coming right at that coyote's head, which is fine. And I may have to come in with some more blue that's more saturated. That means not as much water in it to get this smoother up here. Because if it really bothers you, then you need more pigment. I like that purple in there though. Okay. Now, I keep telling myself I'm going to quit saying now. It's such a habit though that it just comes out. I'll show you what I'm going to get some main paint off of here. There, it's blending a little better because I've taken some of the paint off the brush. So slowly, go softly. I'm barely touching the canvas now so that it blends in. Now I'm going to take a wadded up paper towel and go right behind that coyote's head and come up with a moon. Because this is still wet, it comes out pretty well. I want it to be fairly large. The acrylic paint, this was a totally white canvas, has stained it, but I kind of like that look. That's what I did in the other one. I didn't paint the white except just a little bit. You have to keep turning this until you get some sharper edges. And I may add a little white to it, I may not. Okay. I pretty much like that moon. There's a few little streaky spots that I may try to get out, but I'm going to have to dry this brush. A wet brush will not do well. So, I don't know that I'm helping that at all. I want these lines to go horizontally. So be careful if you come back to paint over it. I like the horizontal lines. If you get streaks in here, that's okay too. Sunset, my ring light cord's in the way. Sunsets are very streaky. And if you want to add some streaks to it on purpose, I'm going to take a little bit out. I'm going to get my brush dryer, and I'm going to come in here. Well, that didn't work, did it? Right here where it's wet, it did. You can take a dry brush and remove some of it when it's still wet. But you know what? I don't think I need to. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way right now. We're not worried about perfection. We're just looking for a sunset. We want the red to blend into the yellow to make an orange. We want the blue to blend into the red to make a purple. And then we want our coyote. I wish I had made him a little larger than he is. But he's not bad. I think he's about the same size as this one, but the paper is smaller. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to show you how to freehand a coyote. It's not a This bigger brush has to go into the water. And I have to put out a little bit black on my palette. I don't know if you can see my palette out here. It's just a plastic plate. That's not very good. Yeah. When you haven't used your paint in a while, you should always shake it up, and you should always have the lid down. I've made that mistake before. Then if it doesn't flow like you want it to, all you have to do is add a little bit of water to it and it flows. This coyote is sitting up on a ridge. In pictures, when you find them, they're always on a high point. I'm going to come in here and do a background right here. That's not detailed, it's just this. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 little evergreen trees. These are so easy to paint, you won't believe how easy those are to paint. Okay, I'm going to have a huge moon here. And you don't want to paint this in black probably. But I'm just going to show where it would be. Where it is behind his head, where it is behind his head. It could even be larger than what I have in here. I've just placed this here to get where I'm going to put his head. This line here on the coyote is pretty much straight. It comes out a little bit in here. Look how I can just come out with a little bit of the fur on his chest. Open his mouth just slightly, because how is this coyote going to howl if his mouth is not open? And give him a head. This is not perfect. I'm going to make this longer here so it doesn't look so much like a bird's beak. And I'm going to come out this way and then give him haunches. Haunches is when your dog or your cat or something sits down. It's going to look a lot more like a coyote if I give him a nice big ear right here. I don't like that shape. This should probably be a little longer in here. That's too pointed. His head's going to keep getting bigger if I do this. But on your canvas, if you make a line you do not like, the best way to get it off is to use a baby wipe. The next best way is to use a paper towel. Because this is just paper and not canvas, I can't do that. I'm going to have to live with that. It's more like an aardvark or something, I'm not sure. But if you want to leave a little bit in between here for the sky to show, you can leave a little bit in between there for the sky to show. If you want to see this leg that is kind of like a C, you can do that and leave it in here. I would make it a little bitty because you really are not going to be able to see behind the coyote. But I do like sometimes to have a little bit of those sky showing through just to show where there's a little bit of the structure of the shadows. You know, when the sun starts going down, this has to be a sunset rather than a dawn, because that's when the coyotes howl. I don't hear them so much here in Pennsylvania. When I lived in Oklahoma, I would hear them quite often. The sun would start going down, and I would hear them off in the distance. And people had to be careful. They are predators. They're hunters. And they go after small animals. It doesn't matter if it's your pet. If they're left out unattended, those little suckers would come in and sometimes grab them. Okay, I'm going to show you the easy way to do this tree. Down, over, and when you're putting these pine trees, these evergreen trees back here, mine's getting a little tall. That's okay. Just set it down and pick it up. I'm not worried about it. Leaving a bit of unpainted part will let the background come through, and that will be cool because trees are not totally solid. They're made up of branches, and you're going to be able to see the sunset in between. When you paint this, you can leave a little line, and when I say little, I mean narrow. A little bit of this showing will give the shape of the background. And then you paint this all in. I think right here, between this bluff and this background, I need to leave another little void so that you can see that this is in the foreground instead of the background. So when you paint this, you can leave a little space there and then paint this. Shape it any way you want. Now, because I've drawn this in, I'm not going to worry so much about it. Doing the whole thing. Oh, that head is awful. If you want to let your background dry and use a piece of chalk or a piece of pencil or even a marker, you can come in and draw your coyote's head so that the body is easy. But the head of mine doesn't look like one. You can also, because I don't have a tracer for you, you can also find it on Pinterest. There's several that you can look at on Pinterest. I glanced at them. Most of them were going the other direction, and I wanted my coyote to come off this way. So look how easy it is to do the trees. I'm going to move this out of the way. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to come in here. This is still not dry. I think that needs to be a little whiter. So I am going to come in with a little bit of white and change that moon a little bit. But not a whole lot. Look how easy these trees are. Count. Let it come out. Use the edge of the brush. You can shape it on your palette and let this come in. This has a lot more impact when you've got the different colors in there. Down, up, and get the shape. If you feel better by drawing them in first, go ahead. And notice that my marker, this is a Sharpie marker, shows through this paint. So you can paint, you can draw it in before you ever start painting. Some of you like to watch before you do it. I encourage you to do this one. I think young artists can do this without a problem. This is something that I would probably do with my 3rd grade and up, but I have 2nd graders could do a pretty good job too. Noticing I'm leaving a little bit of this yellow showing right in here at the bluff so that when I come in, and I'm painting this in different ways. Usually if I was just painting this by myself, I would just take my time and do it. I like coming in with this brush and laying it down and slowing the stroke down. You see how when you do that, you can get a nice sharp line. I come back up here, lay it down, and when you get to that edge, you can have a nice sharp line. If I want that to be a little bit thinner, just go slowly with the brush, and now I can see the edge of that bluff being different than the background. You see I've got a little marker line on there that I drew next to the coyote. If I want to leave that in there, I can come in next to this line, paint sharply, and then I'm going to turn it just a little bit. And I come in here, let the brush do the work. If that's a little bit thick, lay the brush down and let it go. I like to skip the lines over. So if I want another line in the same area, I would skip it a little bit. Come over here. I'm going to have to go higher over there because I see that Sharpie. And come in with this. If you can't do it, if you practice with your brush and you can't do it, there's nothing wrong with coming in here and using a detail brush. I like to see you try and use the larger brushes because actually the larger brushes can be easier than the smaller ones. I know that doesn't sound right, but it is. Now let me see if I can make this coyote tip. I'm skipping around on this because I want to have time. I've got another 20 minutes, but I'm going to work on this a little bit more. I'm going to come in here with this detail brush and do this mouth. If he's howling at the moon, he's definitely going to have his mouth open a little bit. However, if when you're painting, and I'm getting paint on the side of my hand, when you're painting this, if you get in the moon, or if you get the mouth closed up, you can always take your little brush, and when this black dries, I'm getting in the paint again, come back and add it. That's the blessing of using acrylic paint. With acrylic paint, if you have a line that you don't like, I hate to call a mistake, because sometimes you just don't like the line you just made. You can wipe it off, you can let it dry, you can paint back over it. Now I'm going back to my large brush because it's actually easier for me to do this. The coyotes have a rough coat. I'm sure that they have ancestry common with the wolves or the dogs. I think they do have common ancestry. But a lot of people consider coyotes pests. And I think they're interesting. I don't want them coming in my yard there. And they nest with livestock. But I think maybe we're in their territory. I think that's why they're considered pests, is because when humans move in, they're messing with their natural habitat. And who was there first? Have you seen the pictures of the cities where the animals have come back in because humans are sheltering in place? And there's several places where they showed deer coming back into the city. They showed other animals. There was a really interesting picture from, I believe it was South Africa, where there was a pride of lions. I think it was like 12 or more, laying in the middle of a paved road because the road was empty, and they just started reclaiming the land. Kind of interesting. Okay, I'm getting very close to getting him finished. So all I have to do now is paint in the rest of this background. Remember, you can plan to leave a little bit. This little bit of the orange showing through gives me an idea of where his legs are. And I could have left a little bit in here between, like I did here, where the front leg and the back leg come in. That would be interesting to leave a little bit of that showing. Most of this other, I'm just going to come in here and paint it completely black. Have you ever been out at sunset? I know some of you, it's your bedtime and you have to go in the house. But it's interesting when the sun is almost set and you look across and you can't see detail anymore. You see detail only because of light. And when the sun is just about completely set, everything in the foreground is dark. It's dark blue, purplish, or sometimes black. And you see it, the sun, because it backlights everything. And the sun, before it just completely disappears over the horizon, is a fireball. It's very interesting. I like sunsets. Dawns are pretty good, but I'm usually asleep during dawn. I'm not a morning person. I'm more of a night owl. Okay. This is giving you enough detail that you can come in and paint your coyote. It would be neat to make him an eye, but you would not be able to see that eye with him stuck in here. I'm going to paint some more trees. You probably have got the technique down, and you probably don't need me to do that. But I'm going to have this ground be a little bit different. Remember, when you get to someplace that's detailed, slow down. Use the edge of your brush and slow down. I don't want this to be too straight across. I want it to have some different shapes. And put a tiny bit of water on the end of my brush. I don't want this yellow line so bright to come all the way across, but I want to have a little bit of it. So I'm going to make it quit right here, and maybe come back in right there. And that's enough. That gives us an idea that there's a break in the level of the ground. It's interesting when you look at the distance and see how you've got hills and you've got different places, and it makes it more interesting if you have different levels. Okay, the only thing that really needs to be done now, the rest of these trees, and I think I'm going to whiten my moon a little bit. It's not going to have a whole lot of detail. Remember, these trees are just kind of edge of my brush and dotted, or put down and lifted up. Let a little bit of the background show through so these trees show up. Now on this one, I had 3 trees. On this one, I wanted to show a little bit more perspective, that more distance. So I made some little bitty ones over there. I probably can do those with this brush. But if I feel like I can't, I've got a little liner brush over here that I can use. I'm wanting to howl again. I love that story. I love telling that to elementary age students, and they howl with me. But I tell them that we can only howl during the story, and they can't keep howling. Because that gets loud. If you have 23 kindergarten students howling, I've even had teachers come out of the classroom to see what in the world was going on. That's okay. We're doing oral tradition and we're doing storytelling, so I don't mind if other people think I'm weird. I might be a little weird, but I don't mind it. Now, this is the detail brush. I'm just barely touching it. Little tiny tree over here. Now, how many do I have? Remember, Jim said that's a rule of 3, but it's not really a rule. It's just sort of a recommendation. I'm letting these 2 blend together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still an uneven number. I could put some more little bitty trees. I'm not going to do that. I'm thinking that it's just about finished. I need to look at it here and there. I do need to paint the sides, but I don't think that is quite white enough. I like the colors in the moon. You know what? I could paint it a pale yellow or a pale orange. I'm going to start with the white and see what I like. See if I like it. And if I don't, no big deal. You always paint back over it. I'm going to wipe on my paper towel. Whoa, that is white. Notice how the brush is doing the work. I'm not going to paint the whole thing. Let the brush do the work for you. Lay it down. Pull it. I don't push your brush. If you start pushing the brush, it's hard to control. Always pull it. Now this yellow was very, very bright. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of that yellow to tint the moon a little bit. Oh, I like the different colors that I'm getting. I like the fact that it looks like the moon has craters. Now, I didn't get all the yellow off that brush. That's fine. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to dry it off. And this is called dry brush. I'm barely touching the edge of that. I'm leaving those colors. Also, what's happening is that I'm not disturbing that black paint in here, and I'm not messing up my coyote's face, because it's still wet. If I touch that, it would for sure make a mess. I think I got into my red, I got into my yellow. I'm going to put a tiny bit in here. See, I do like that. I wiped it off on my paper towel. I only wanted a tiny bit. What about a tiny bit of that blue? Wipe it off on the paper towel. See, yeah. Now that's kind of getting a gray color, kind of a grungy brown. When you mix yellow, red, and blue, you get brown. That's enough detail on this. That's enough. I could go back and put a white outline on it, but I think I like it just like that. If that maybe just a bit too much here, you can always go back and blot it. Let me just finish it. Except for my edges, and that's easy to do. In fact, I may go and paint all the edges black, because that gives it a nice trim look. And you can even put tape on here, like masking tape, and give a black outline all the way around. This is your artwork. You get to finish it the way you want. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do here. This one was not done on a canvas. This was done on canvas paper, and they look pretty much the same. I don't enjoy painting on this canvas paper nearly as much. It's harder to get it smooth. And when I say smooth, it's not really smooth in here. If that bothers me, I can always go back and do a second coat. But I like the fact that the yellow blends into the red and makes an orange, and the red blends into the blue and makes a purple. Now this blue has a little bit of green in it. It's not a dark, real true blue. The reason I use this color is when you do a dark, real blue and mix it with red, you get such a dark color, it's not a purple. Turquoise and magenta makes a beautiful purple, but true red and true blue together make a dark purplish color, so it's not all that beautiful. Okay, I want to look at my phone and see if I've got any questions. I realized that I should have painted it this way so you could see what I was doing better. But you did have this one on the wall back behind to look at. Do you think the coyote's that? I cannot look at that head without laughing. If I was going to try to save this, I would come in with the paint and really change its head. If you have something really, really dark that you don't like, you can start by painting it white and let it dry, and then go back over it with your color. So, I challenge everybody to read a story that you like and practice it and see if you can tell a story to other people. It doesn't have to be a Native American tale. It doesn't have to be a true story. A lot of the stories that are told are fiction. So make one up if you want to. If you're going to keep telling it, though, you need to maybe write it down so that you can remember the plot, remember the high points, and tell it. I would love to see storytelling come back. Last year, they had a storytelling workshop here in Bedford, and I got to go to 2 or 3 of them. Very interesting. I would like to participate sometime. I may do that. I may, if they have another one, I may participate in it. Because it's fun, and it's tradition. And I love that. Okay. I've got about another 5 minutes. I want to tell you about next week. Morgan has not told me what the schedule is next week. So I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you what I plan to do. Next week, I plan to use oil pastels. They come in a package about this long, and you get, I don't know, 28 or 30 oil pastels. It's like a really soft crayon, and they're when you color with a Crayola, you have to put lots of pressure on it to color brightly. You do not on an oil pastel. You can use medium pressure if you want to completely cover up the paper and get down in the little tooth of the paper. You have to use a little pressure. But they're not expensive. You can buy one of 30 or 40 oil pastels at Walmart, and it's just $5 or $6. So if you've got a parent or a grandparent or somebody going out, or yourself going out to Walmart, pick up some oil pastels. They're fun. You can use them on copy paper, but not well. They do better on multimedia paper or even construction paper. Look, you get little tablets. This is a tablet that I was using to protect my dining table, and this is just the back cardboard. So I didn't cover my table with a tablecloth. I just used this thing. This is a pad of Bristol, and it's probably backwards. I don't know if you can read those words or if it's backwards. B-R-I-S-T-O-L. This is my favorite paper. Now there's an unfinished drawing in it. See how dark it can go? That was mainly, I think, just a regular pencil, and I haven't finished it. But I love this paper. This is multimedia paper. You can paint on it. You can draw on it. You can use oil pastels on it. And it's smooth. This is vellum, and it's a smoother surface. Some paper is rougher than others, but it comes with several sheets. This is a large tablet. You can buy them in different sizes. I don't think Walmart has this quality of paper, but it's not that cheap. $13.99 at Hobby Lobby, but you get several sheets of paper, and you can cut them in half, or you can buy a smaller tablet, or you can use your 40% off coupon. So next week I'm going to do oil pastels. What I plan to do right now is a tree. I love bare trees, and I want to do it in complementary colors. You know how Jen always has her color wheel out? Complementary colors are the ones that are directly opposite. So here's yellow, red, and blue. The blue would be over here, would be orange, because yellow and red make orange. Over here, the complement of red would be green, because yellow and blue make green. And in between, you've got the other colors. The red violet, the blue violet, the yellow green, the blue green, they all come in the middle of this. So I'm going to want to do, I think, 2 or 3 shades of blue and 1 or 2 shades of orange. We're going to do the sky orange because the sky can be orange when you have a sunset. Or the trees aren't really blue, but sometimes with atmospheric perspective, if you're looking through the trees at a distance, do you see the mountains and the hills sometimes where they look blue? Trees can look blue from a distance, but we're going to draw with them because the orange and the blue together look more vibrant. So we're going to use the complementary colors. And trees are so simple. I taught them to 2nd graders. I've taught them to kindergartners, but you've got to go around and help them. So that's what I want to do, the oil pastel. I want to show you 2 or 3 different techniques in it. And thank you for coming. Southern Allegheny Museum of Bedford, Museum of Art in Bedford. Thank you for coming and participating in this art. We're going to try to keep content coming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know how long we'll do it, but we want to continue it after everybody is out and about. And thank you so much for coming. And I hope that if it's a dark night and the moon is starting to come out and you hear something off in the distance, you will know it's the coyote. And you'll remember how it got its paw. And that's the